What's up, everybody? What's up? How is everyone doing? I hope everyone is well. My name is David Lowe, and this is the 4K Lowdown. So, for the lowdown this week, I don't have any pickups that I got last week, so there's no town hall meeting. Boo. But I do have some stuff on order that I should get later this week or first part of next, so I will have a town hall meeting for next week. Yay. So, what to talk about this week? I figured one of the things I'm going to be doing on these shows is I'm going to be reviewing films. And basically, anything that I buy and watch, I will review. Anything that I watch on Netflix or stream on Hulu or anything like that, if I watch it or Amazon Prime, I will review it and it'll be on the show. So I've got one coming up this week. Look for some reviews. Haven't figured out if I want to do those live or if I'm going to do those recorded, but we'll figure that out. Anyway, before I started doing these reviews on my YouTube channel, I thought that maybe I'd talk about how I score these movies. Because the way I score them is different from any other critic that you would ever see out there. I don't just go 10 out of 10 or 5 stars or something like that. I take 10 aspects of the movie and I score each one separately on a scale of 1 to 10. Then I take the average score of all 10 aspects, and that's how I score the movie. So let me tell you, it is going to be next to impossible for you to see a 1 or a 10 on any of my reviews, except for in the minor aspects. Why? Because I don't think any movie deserves a 10. Very rarely. I'm going to score some classics as we move forward and see if I can come up with any 10s. But as of yet, there's nothing that can give me a 10 out of 10 on every aspect that I want in that movie. So, how do I decide the aspects? Well, first, I took the first 5 and decided what 5 aspects do I want in every movie. Because some movies I want different. I want different stuff from. But there are 5 movies. There are 5 aspects that I want from every movie. Now, what do you guys think that would be? Well, I'll give you what I have and then see if you agree. So, the first thing is the cast. I want there to be a cast in the movie. Now, the way I score the cast is pretty simple. If I recognize the actor by name and can tell you what movie that person has been in, that actor gets 2 points. If I recognize the actor, but I don't know that person's name, then that scores 1 point. If there's an ensemble cast, but I don't know their names, but there's a whole bunch of actors, then that gets 1 point for the whole thing. So I give 1 point for the whole smattering of the cast. If there's somebody I recognize, but I don't know where from, or I don't know their name, so either I know their name, but I can't remember where they're from, or I remember where they're from, but I don't remember their name, or I just recognize them, that's 1 point. And then they get 2 points if I say, oh, I know that guy. It's in this movie. He's pretty good. So, and that tallies up to 10. Once I get to 10, that's it. If there's 15 different mainstream actors in the movie, then it's a 10. So, a prime example of a movie with a cast score of 10 is The Expendables. So, think about that. You got, just looking at the front cover, I could give this an 18 from all the people that I know. The one side bonus of that is, let's say it's a movie with just one really big actor, like say Denzel Washington or Julia Roberts, somebody that's won an Oscar, somebody big, but there's really nobody else in the movie, then that might get 3 points. But if there's a whole bunch of Oscar nominees and winners and stuff like that, it's just 2 points each. So, real easy to score cast. Why is cast important? I don't know. And the way I put it is, you'll buy a movie with Tom Hanks in it as the star, but would you buy a movie with Colin Hanks? I don't know. Maybe not. So that's one of the things I look for as an aspect. And that's an objective score that I can do. Next is the acting. So I look at the acting based on the cast. So if I find that it's a really big cast, like you take a cast like this, which gets a 10 easy, but the acting is not a 10. So I try to take the acting and make it comparable to the cast. So if I don't recognize the cast, but I feel the acting was good, then I'll give the acting a higher score because I didn't give the cast a very high score. But likewise, if it's a good cast but the acting blows, then I'm going to lower the acting score because I expect more out of them. One more thing about the cast, going back. If it's a foreign film, I automatically score a 4 for the cast because foreign films, I generally don't know the cast members, so they automatically get a 4. And if I know anybody, if I recognize them, then they get 1 point each from there. But generally, I don't know their names. If I do, then definitely 2 points. But otherwise, foreign films always get a 4. So, what would be a prime example, going back to acting, what would be a prime example of a 10 for acting? And first one I thought of was Bohemian Rhapsody. A beautiful movie, brilliantly acted by Rami Malek. Just an amazing, amazing film. So, actually, one of the most recent 9s that I gave in score, total score. So that's what I look for. And even though the cast did pretty good, so if I look at it, I recognized a couple people, so I believe I think I gave the cast a 5 or a 6. I'd have to look that up to be sure, but it was mainly I recognized Rami Malek, and then I'm like, oh yeah, there's that guy, so that's 1 point. Oh yeah, there's that guy, I recognize him, that's 1 point. And then 1 point for the cast. So I think I gave the cast like a 6, maybe even a 7. But the acting 10, absolutely. If I could have given that an 11, I would have. But it's not Spinal Tap. The third thing is the plot. So what I think of as the plot is the basic concept of the movie. So almost like what you would read from the back of the box, or what you get from a basic synopsis of the movie. So not anything special. It's just like, oh, so this is what I read, you know, about what the movie's about. Do I want to buy it? That's the plot. So, and the best example that I could think of right off the top of my head for something that is just a brilliant plot that hooked me right away is A Quiet Place. This is a plot. I've never heard of this. I read this box and I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting this. And it was a brilliant movie. But the plot, what I read off the box and the basic synopsis of the film, or the first trailers that you see, it's kind of like the plot where you get like just the general concept, or what I call the seed of the film. And you take it from there and you score that. So this got a 10 for the plot. fourth aspect that I want in every movie is a great ending. So I want a great ending with closure or a really good cliffhanger, and I know there's going to be a sequel. I want just this epic answer to everything that just kind of sets everything in motion and the whole thing just comes together. I mean, sure, Sixth Sense would be a prime example of that, to where that ending made the film to where you're like, oh, dude, now the whole thing needs to be rewatched. Book of Eli is kind of like that too. But the one I grabbed, and this is probably my favorite movie in the last 10 years, is I grabbed The Martian. Talk about an ending. This was epic. And at a 9.6 total, this is my highest scored movie in the last 10 years. But I want a clean ending. You give me an ending where it just drops, and I'm going to tank that score. Number 5, the fifth aspect that I want in every movie, and everything kind of comes together with this last aspect, and that is the story. So, and I'm not talking about the storyline because that's more like the concept, that's more like the plot. I'm talking about the story, the beginning, middle, and end. I want the whole thing together. How does it come together? Are there holes in the story? Was I able to follow what's going on? Did they answer all my questions? You know, did everything come through and I understood it by the end of the movie? And that one's really hard. I mean, I gave some movies a 10 for the story because okay, I got a beginning, middle, and end. It doesn't have to be an intricate story. It doesn't have to be like 12 Years a Slave or something like that to where you're like, holy crap, what a story. Schindler's List would be another prime example of that. But give me a beginning, middle, and end, answer all my questions, don't leave anything out, don't leave holes that you can drive a truck through because that bugs me. Don't go, oh, geez, what happened to this guy? That that really bugs me when you do that. Or it's like, okay, that movie didn't mean anything. There was nothing to that because there was no closure. I got no ending. I, you know, I feel frustrated. And, no money on the nightstand for you because you didn't finish me off. So, the prime example, first thing that I thought of when I thought of, okay, I want a movie. What movie can I bring up that everybody will go, oh yeah, that has a great story? And I thought of nothing other than Shawshank. So, I mean, you want to talk a story and a beautiful story. I mean, of course, it came from Stephen King, but the way they did this movie, epic. So, looking at that, those are the main 5 aspects: cast, acting, plot, ending, and story. What do you think about that? Do you think those are good ones? Is there something else that you're looking for that you'd like to see in every movie? If so, maybe that takes the place, or maybe we do something. Because if we go by 10 aspects, so like say if I score something based on the movie itself and not how I do it, then you would think of 10 aspects that you want from every movie. Script, cinematography, if you want to go, special effects, whatever that you want from every movie. But the way I did it was there are 5 aspects that I want from all films, but then there are aspects that I want to see based on the genre that I'm watching. So, if I'm watching an action movie, I want certain things, but if I'm watching a drama, I want other things. If I'm watching a horror movie, I want this, this, and this. But if I'm watching a thriller, I want this, this, and this. So when we come back, we're going to talk about some of that. But this was primarily just an idea of how I score the main 5. After our little break, we're going to talk about the other 5 aspects and just kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about. I'm going to just come right back, but you guys feel free to pause it, get a drink of water, come back, hit play, and we'll resume. Thanks. And we're back. What's up, everybody? Okay, so in the first segment, we talked about the 5 aspects that I score all movies on. But what about the other 5? What else? What else do I score based on? Now that varies because I believe that no 2 movies can be scored really the same way completely. If you do, you're just setting certain movies up to fail. Like, for example, if you want great special effects from every movie that you watch, then any comedy or drama that you see, with a few exceptions, is going to fail. If you want romance, then most horror movies are going to fail, except for maybe Friday the 13th. But my point is you want something different from other movies. So what I did was I took the other 5 aspects and I separated them based on the genre and the type of movie. For example, let's say action. I have aspects that I want in action movies that I don't want in dramas. Likewise, different types of action movies, like, say, a martial arts movie. I want different things than I would from a spy movie or a movie that's focused on vehicles, or what I call a vehicle action movie, like Fast and the Furious would be an example of that. So there's certain things that I want out of that I don't want in a spy movie. So what I did, so we have the 5 aspects. Let's go over those again. Cast, acting, plot, ending, and story. That holds true for every movie that I watch. Keeps it pretty relative, I think, and pretty objective. So the next 3 aspects that I choose are based on the main genre. If it's an action movie, sci-fi, fantasy, horror movie, we'll go through in order. My main genres are action, animated, comedy, drama, fantasy, horror, sci-fi, and thriller. And then the last 2 aspects are based on the type. Is it a martial arts movie? Is it a zombie film? Is it a romance? Is it a biopic? Is it a found footage movie? Is it a disaster film? Things like that. Those types. Is it a western? Those are types. So a movie can be an action movie, but can also be a war movie. And it's scored based on that. It could also be a drama and be a war movie. Zombie film could be a horror movie, or it could be a comedy and be a zombie film. So you still get the two scores for it being a zombie film, which it would be the same as a horror movie of a zombie, but you have to get to the aspects of it being a comedy. So you get the three comedy aspects and you get the two zombie aspects. So that's kind of how I do the scoring. As we move forward, I'm going to focus on genres first and talk about the things that I want out of those genres, and then we'll score a couple of sample movies. Then we'll start talking about types and how I score that. As we move forward, I'll be reviewing a bunch of movies, talking about stuff like that. But what do you guys think? I think this, yeah, it makes everything objective. And I wanted to touch on one more thing. By no means does the score necessarily reflect how I feel about the movie, whether I like it or not. I'm scoring the movie based on what I feel the aspects of the film should be, and their quality. So I could absolutely hate a movie, but still give it a good score because I think for the genre, it's a good thing. For example, musicals. I can't stand musicals. There's maybe a handful of musicals that I've actually been able to sit through. So when I get a musical, I try to score them as objectively as possible. Like take The Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman. I hated that movie. I barely made it through that movie, but I gave it an 8.1, and it won the Lowedown Award for Best Drama. What is 2019, I think, when it came out on video. I'll have to double check that, but things like that. So I tried to score the movie as objectively as possible. Now, again, I'm not going to give a whole lot of tens. I'm not going to give a whole lot of nines. In fact, I usually give maybe 4 or 5 out of the year. Unfortunately, last year I only gave one movie a 9 or higher. Um, I also don't generally score movies lower than a 3 because I'll give something, a low score like a 1, but there's going to be an aspect of the movie that has got to give me at least a 5 somehow, either the acting or the special effects or something like that to kind of raise the average up a little bit. But I will say in the review whether I don't recommend it or whether, you know what, even though I'm giving the thing a 3, check it out. There's going to be something in there that you might like. So that's it for me. I'm going to sign off, but I want to thank you guys for watching, and please throw me a like, give me a subscription. I would really appreciate it. I'm going to try to keep entering more content in here. Um, but I would really love your reviews, your comments. Let me know what you think. I'll just keep on going. And pretty soon we're going to start doing some live shows once I start getting some more feedback and seeing some more views. But for right now, I'm just going to do recordings. Then I can edit them and put some stuff in them. But anyway, I'm going to take off. This was the 4K Lowdown. My name was David Lowe, and will always be David Lowe. But you guys have a great evening and have a great week.